Alyssa had lied. She could dance. Sort of. Her mother had insisted on ballroom lessons when she was 12, convinced that proper young ladies should know how to waltz. Alyssa had hated every minute of it until now. Now, with Jaden's hand warm and steady at her waist, his other hand holding hers with surprising gentleness, she remembered every step. "You're full of surprises," Jaden murmured as they moved together, finding an easy rhythm. "I had lessons. A lifetime ago." Alyssa tried to focus on the steps instead of how close they were, how his cologne smelled like cedar and something expensive, how his thumb traced small circles on her waist like he wasn't even aware he was doing it. My mother had visions of me becoming a debutante. Did it work? I became an English major who writes romance novels and destroys art. So no, not exactly. Jaden's laugh was low and genuine. "I think you turned out better than a debutante. You don't know many debutantes, do you? I know enough to prefer women who speak their minds and ruin paintings." They spun, and Alyssa caught a glimpse of the room around them. Other couples danced, but she could feel eyes on them, curious stares, whispered conversations. "Everyone's watching us," she said quietly. "Let them. Doesn't that bother you? The speculation?" "No." He pulled her slightly closer, and Alyssa's breath caught. "I stopped caring what people thought a long time ago. I rebuilt my father's company while everyone said I'd fail. I made decisions that were criticized and proved right anyway. Other people's opinions are just noise. That must be nice. Being that confident. It's not confidence. It's exhaustion." His gray eyes found hers. Caring what everyone thinks is exhausting. Eventually, you realize the only opinions that matter are your own and the people you actually care about. And which category do I fall into? The second one. Definitely the second one. The honesty of it should have scared her. Instead, it made something warm bloom in her chest. "I should warn you," Alyssa said. "I'm not good at this. Dancing. You're doing fine. No. This. Whatever this is. I overthink everything. I second-guess myself constantly. I'm terrified of making mistakes, and even more terrified of taking risks. And yet you're here, in a dress I sent you, dancing with me in front of 300 people. Jaden's smile was soft. "Seems like you're braver than you think. Or stupider. Definitely braver." The music swelled. Other dancers moved around them like water around stones. But in their small pocket of space, it felt like they were the only two people in the room. "Jaden." "Yes? Why me?" The question escaped before she could stop it. "You could have anyone. Someone from your world. Someone who understands galas and business and all the things I don't. Why go through all this trouble for a clumsy caterer who ruined your evening?" He was quiet for a moment, guiding them through a turn. When he spoke, his voice was careful, measured. "Because you didn't treat me like Jaden Logan, CEO. You treated me like a person who'd done something kind. You were honest when everyone else in that gallery was performing." He paused. "And because when I asked what you were writing, your entire face lit up, like you'd been waiting for someone to ask. Like it mattered. It does matter. I know. That's why I asked." Alyssa felt something shift inside her. Something that had been carefully locked away, protected behind layers of self-doubt and fear. The music began to wind down. Their dance was ending, but something else was just beginning. "I needed air," Alyssa said, stepping out onto the balcony. The cool night breeze was a relief after the warmth of the ballroom. "Mind if I join you?" Jaden appeared at her elbow, 2 fresh champagne flutes in hand. "It's your gala. I can't exactly say no." "You absolutely can." "That's the point of asking." Alyssa accepted the champagne and moved to the railing. The city spread out below them, a constellation of lights and life and possibility. "It's beautiful," she said. "It is." But when she glanced over, Jaden was looking at her, not the view. Her cheeks heated. "You're not even looking at the city. I've seen the city. I haven't seen you in that dress nearly enough." Smooth talker, honest talker. He leaned against the railing beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "Can I ask you something?" "That sounds ominous. Why haven't you submitted your manuscript? Your novel about Emma and David?" The question caught her off guard. "How do you know I haven't? You said nothing published yet at dinner. But you didn't say nothing submitted yet. Different things. Perceptive." He was far too perceptive. "Because it's not ready," Alyssa said automatically. "Or because you're scared it is?" She took a long sip of champagne. "You're very insightful for a CEO. I read a lot of business psychology. Fear of success is a documented phenomenon. People self-sabotage right before achieving what they want because success feels more terrifying than failure. And you think that's what I'm doing? I think you're brilliant and talented and convinced you're neither of those things. I think you've built a very comfortable fortress of not ready yet to avoid risking rejection." He turned to face her fully. "I think you're doing with your writing exactly what you tried to do tonight. Talk yourself out of something good before it has a chance to disappoint you." Alyssa's throat tightened. "You barely know me. I know enough. I know you write romance novels, but won't call yourself a writer. I know you work 3 jobs but dream about something bigger. I know you're terrified right now, but you're here anyway. In a dress that makes you feel exposed, having this conversation instead of hiding." His voice softened. "I know you're much braver than you give yourself credit for." "Stop that." "Stop what?" "Seeing me so clearly? It's unsettling. Get used to it. I'm very observant when I'm interested. And you're interested. Catastrophically." He set down his champagne. "Alyssa, I canceled meetings for you. I bought a ruined painting. I read romance novels trying to understand what made you light up when you talked about them. I rearranged an entire gala seating chart and sent my assistant on an emergency shopping mission. If that's not interested, I don't know what is. It's insane is what it is. Maybe, but it's honest." He took a step closer. "I'm not good at this either. For what it's worth. I haven't dated seriously in years. I work too much. I'm controlling and particular, and Marcus says I intimidate everyone I meet. But with you, I want to try. I want to see where this goes. What if it goes nowhere? What if I disappoint you? What if you don't? What if this is exactly what we both need, and we're too scared to find out?" Alyssa looked up at him. At this impossible man who'd walked into her disaster of an evening and decided she was worth pursuing, who'd read her favorite book and sent her a dress, and looked at her like she was the most interesting person in a room full of millionaires. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "Neither do I. We'll figure it out together." "That's very optimistic. I'm a CEO. Optimism is part of the job description." She laughed despite herself. "What now?" "Now?" Jaden's smile was slow and devastating. "Now we go back inside, finish this gala, and then I take you to dinner. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere we can actually talk without 300 people watching. This is dinner. This is an obligation with food. I want actual dinner. With you. Tomorrow night, if you'll let me." "You're asking me on a date?" "I'm asking you on several dates. A whole series." Alyssa's heart hammered against her ribs. Every rational part of her brain screamed that this was too fast, too much, too impossible. But the part of her that wrote romance novels, the part that believed in taking risks and happy endings and love that changed everything, whispered something different. Sometimes
If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you more amazing love stories. All right, back to the story.
the universe hands you a rom-com meet cute. Don't overthink it. Okay, she said. Okay, okay. Dinner tomorrow, and maybe the day after. We'll see how it goes. Jaden's smile could have lit up the entire city. We'll see how it goes. I can work with that. They'd barely stepped back into the ballroom when a woman materialized before them like she'd been waiting. She was elegant in the way that only came from generations of wealth and social training. Silver hair swept into a perfect chignon, a midnight blue gown that probably cost more than Alyssa's car, jewelry that belonged in a museum, and eyes exactly like Jaden's. There you are, she said, her tone affectionate but pointed. I've been looking everywhere for you, Mother. Jaden's entire posture shifted subtly, still confident but more guarded. I didn't realize you were coming tonight. I told you I would. You don't listen. Her sharp gaze moved to Alyssa, assessing in the way only mothers could. And, who is this lovely young woman? This is Alyssa Rachel. Alyssa, my mother, Catherine Logan. It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Logan. Alyssa offered her hand, trying to channel confidence she didn't feel. Catherine's handshake was firm, her scrutiny thorough. Rachel, are you the event coordinator? I don't recognize you from the planning committee. Alyssa glanced at Jaden, uncertain. Alyssa is my guest, Jaden said smoothly. And a writer. She's working on a novel. A writer? How interesting. Catherine's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. And how did you two meet? At an art gallery, Alyssa supplied, finding her voice. I had a slight accident with a painting. She improved it considerably, Jaden added. How? Unconventional. Catherine's attention returned to her son. Jaden, darling, Senator Harrison is here with Elizabeth. She's been asking about you. You really should say hello. I'm in the middle of... It will only take a moment. You know how important the senator's support is for the infrastructure project. Catherine's tone was pleasant, but the steel underneath was unmistakable. Jaden's jaw tightened fractionally. Of course. Excuse me for a moment? Go, Alyssa said quietly. I'll be fine. He hesitated, clearly torn, then nodded and allowed his mother to steer him away into the crowd, leaving Alyssa alone in her borrowed dress, suddenly feeling very much like Cinderella after midnight. Alyssa was contemplating escape routes when someone appeared at her elbow. You must be Alyssa. The woman was stunning in the way that came from good genes and better stylists. Blonde hair in perfect waves, a dress that probably had its own insurance policy, a smile that was friendly but calculated. Elizabeth Harrison. She extended her hand. I saw you with Jaden earlier. You two looked quite cozy. We're friends. The word felt inadequate, but Alyssa had no idea what else to call whatever they were. Friends. How nice. Elizabeth sipped her champagne. Jaden doesn't usually bring friends to these events. He's very private, very focused on work. So I've heard. Our mothers have been trying to set us up for years. I'm sure Catherine mentioned me. Elizabeth's smile stayed perfectly in place. We have a lot in common. Similar backgrounds, similar educations. We both understand the demands of this world. The implication hung between them like smoke. You don't belong here. You don't understand this world. You're temporary. Alyssa felt every insecurity she'd ever had bubble up to the surface. The voice in her head that said she wasn't good enough, smart enough, sophisticated enough. That must be nice, she managed. Having so much in common, it is. Makes things simpler. Elizabeth's eyes were kind, but her words were daggers wrapped in velvet. This world can be very complicated for outsiders. The expectations, the scrutiny, everyone watching, judging. It's not for everyone. No, I suppose it's not. I'm not trying to be unkind, Elizabeth continued, and maybe she even believed it. His company, his family obligations, his position in society. It takes a particular kind of person to navigate that. Someone who understands the rules. And you think I don't? I think you're probably lovely. I think Jaden is clearly interested. But interest isn't always enough. Elizabeth finished her champagne. Just something to consider. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Then she was gone, gliding back into the crowd like a beautiful, poisonous butterfly. Alyssa stood alone, Elizabeth's words echoing in her mind. You don't belong here. Interest isn't always enough. You're temporary. Everything Alyssa had been trying not to think about came crashing down at once. Jaden found Alyssa exactly where he'd left her, but everything about her had changed. The light in her eyes had dimmed. Her shoulders curved slightly inward. The confidence she'd been building all evening had evaporated like smoke. Hey. He touched her arm gently. Sorry, that took so long. My mother has very strong opinions about senatorial relationships. It's fine. Her smile was brittle. Wrong. Alyssa. What happened? Nothing. I think I should go. This has been wonderful. But I should probably... Who did you talk to? What? Someone said something. Who was it? His voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. Alyssa looked up at him, and he saw it all in her eyes. The doubt, the fear, the voice telling her she didn't belong. Elizabeth Harrison seems very nice, she said quietly. Jaden closed his eyes briefly. What did she say? Nothing that wasn't true. That your world is complicated. That I don't understand the rules. That interest isn't always enough. Alyssa's laugh was shaky. She's right, isn't she? Look at me. I'm wearing a borrowed dress at a gala where I was supposed to be working. I don't belong here, Jaden. Not really. Stop. It's true. It's not true. None of it. He took both her hands, forcing her to look at him. Elizabeth is wrong. My mother is wrong. Anyone who thinks you don't belong here is wrong. Do you know what I see when I look at you? Someone out of place? Someone real. Someone who makes me laugh. Someone brave enough to be herself, even when she's terrified. His grip tightened. Someone I can't stop thinking about. Someone worth rearranging my entire evening for. Someone who belongs exactly where she is because I want her here. Jaden, I know this is complicated. I know my life comes with obligations and expectations, and people like Elizabeth who think they know what's best for me. But they don't get to decide. I do, and I'm deciding this you is worth whatever complications come with it. Tears pricked at Alyssa's eyes. What if I can't handle it? What if the scrutiny and the judgment and the being watched all the time is too much? Then we figure it out. Together. But don't run away before we even try. He lifted one hand to cup her face. Please don't let other people's opinions matter more than this. Than us. There's an us? If you want there to be. I very much want there to be. Around them, the gala continued. Music played. People danced. The world kept turning. But in their small corner of the ballroom, everything hung suspended on Alyssa's next words. I'm scared, she whispered. I know. So am I. You don't seem scared. I'm terrified. I haven't felt this much for anyone in years. Maybe ever. That's absolutely terrifying. His thumb traced her cheekbone. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe alone. Wouldn't you? Alyssa thought about Emma and David. about all the chapters where they circled each other, too scared to admit what they felt, about how she'd written again and again that love required bravery. Maybe it was time to take her own advice. Okay, she breathed. Okay? Okay. I'm still terrified, but okay. Let's try. Jaden's smile was pure relief and joy. Thank you. Thank you. For what? For being brave. For giving this a chance. For not running when it got hard. I might still run. Fair warning. Then I'll follow. Also fair warning. This time, when he pulled her back onto the dance floor, Alyssa let herself enjoy it. Let herself be held. Let herself believe that maybe, possibly, this impossible thing might actually work, even if it was terrifying. Especially because it was terrifying. Alyssa woke up to 17 text messages, 3 missed calls, and the persistent feeling that last night had been a fever dream. The emerald dress hanging on her closet door proved otherwise. Shanna. Girl. I saw photos. You and Jaden dancing. Explain. Sienna. Also, you looked stunning. That dress. Sienna. Are you alive? Did you combust from romantic tension? Sienna. Alyssa, Caitlin, Rachel. Answer your phone. Alyssa smiled despite her exhaustion and typed back. Alyssa. I'm alive. Barely. Also possibly dating a billionaire? I think. Is that what's happening? Sienna. Calling you right now. True to her word, Sienna's call came through 3 seconds later. Start from the beginning and don't leave anything out, Sienna demanded without preamble. Alyssa sank back against her pillows and told her everything. The dress, the seating change, the dance, the balcony conversation, Elizabeth's poisonous kindness, Jaden's declaration. Holy shit, Sienna breathed when she finished. This is the most romantic thing I've ever heard. Also the most terrifying. Also, I'm so proud of you for not running away. I almost did. Elizabeth made some very good points about me not belonging in his world. Elizabeth can go fall in a hedge. You belong wherever you decide you belong. Sienna's voice softened. How are you feeling? Honestly? Terrified, excited, confused. Like I accidentally walked into someone else's life and they haven't noticed the mistake yet. That's not what's happening. You don't know that. I know that man rearranged an entire gala for you. That's not, oops, wrong person behavior. That's, I'm seriously interested behavior. A pause. When are you seeing him again? Tonight? Dinner? He's picking me up at 7. Tonight? Alyssa, what are you wearing? Please tell me not the funeral dress. I don't know what I'm wearing. I don't know what you wear to dinner with a billionaire. I don't know the protocol for any of this. Okay. Breathe. We have all day. I'm coming over after my shift with options. We're going to make you look amazing and confident, even if you feel like you're dying inside. That's the spirit. I'm serious though, Liz. This is good. Let yourself have this. You deserve good things. After they hung up, Alyssa opened her laptop. Her manuscript stared back at her Emma and David, frozen in chapter 17. She read what she'd written last time. Emma looked at David across the chessboard and realized that sometimes the scariest thing wasn't falling in love. It was admitting that you already had. Her fingers moved before she could overthink it. David reached across the board, not to move a piece, but to take her hand. I know you're scared. I know you're scared, he said quietly. I'm scared too. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe alone. Emma's breath caught. Because that was the thing about David. He saw through all her defenses, all her careful logic, straight to the truth underneath. What if we're terrible at this? She whispered. Then we'll be terrible together. Still better than being apart. Alyssa stopped typing and stared at the words. She'd just written her own life. Or maybe her life was finally catching up to her fiction. Either way, it felt like something was shifting, like she was standing at the edge of something huge and terrifying and wonderful, and she had to choose whether to step forward or back. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number that she somehow knew was Jaden. Jaden. Good morning. I hope you slept well. Still on for tonight? No pressure. If you've changed your mind. JL. Alyssa read it 3 times. Even his texts were careful. Considerate. Giving her an out if she needed it. She typed back, Alyssa. Still on. Though I have to warn you, I'm significantly less impressive without the borrowed dress. Jaden. I'll take my chances. 7 o'clock? Alyssa. 7 works. Jaden. Perfect. And Alyssa? The dress was just fabric. You're the impressive part. She set her phone down, cheeks heating. This was really happening. She was dating Jaden Logan. Or about to be. Or something. Don't overthink it, she told herself. Just see what happens. Then she opened a new document and started typing her query letter. Because if she could be brave enough to date a billionaire, she could be brave enough to submit her manuscript. One terrifying thing at a time. Jaden had reviewed the same contract 3 times and retained none of it. You're distracted. Marcus observed. I'm focused. You've been staring at paragraph 4 for 10 minutes. Either it's the most fascinating legal language ever written, or you're thinking about something else entirely. Jaden set down the contract. Fine. I'm distracted. Happy? Ecstatic. This is the most human you've been in 5 years. Marcus consulted his tablet. Should I clear your evening schedule? I'm assuming tonight's dinner is not, in fact, a business meeting. It's not. And yes, clear everything after 5. Done. Where are you taking her? Somewhere quiet, private, where we can actually talk without photographers or socialites. So not Le Bernardin, where you have a standing reservation and everyone knows you. Definitely not Le Bernardin. Marcus made a note. I'll call Antonio's, the private room in the back. They owe you a favor after you invested in their expansion. Perfect. Thank you. You're welcome. Also, your mother called. Twice. She has opinions about last night. Jaden rubbed his temples. I'm sure she does. She wants to know who Alyssa is, where she came from, and what your intentions are. Direct quote. My intentions are to have dinner with someone I like, without the entire family analyzing it. That's not how the Logan family works, and you know it. Marcus's expression softened slightly. For what it's worth, I think she's good for you. I've never seen you smile that much at a corporate event. Or cancel meetings. Or buy romance novels. Am I ever going to live down the romance novels? Absolutely not. I've already told the entire office. You're fired. I'm irreplaceable. Marcus headed for the door, then paused. Jaden? Yes? Don't overthink this. You're always strategic. Always calculating. But some things are worth just feeling, without analyzing them to death. That's very philosophical for an assistant. I've been reading your romance novels. They're surprisingly insightful. Marcus grinned. Emma and David wouldn't have wasted 17 chapters if they'd just talked to each other in chapter 3. Get out of my office. Going. Enjoy your date. Try not to terrify her with your intensity. After Marcus left, Jaden picked up his phone and opened his messages. He'd sent Alyssa that text this morning after lying awake for hours, debating whether it was too much, too soon, too presumptuous. Her response had made his chest tight. Alyssa. Still on, though I have to warn you, I'm significantly less impressive without the borrowed dress. She had no idea. The dress had been beautiful, yes, but it was her wit, her honesty, her bravery that had captivated him. He typed out another message, then deleted it. Typed again, deleted again. This was ridiculous. He negotiated billion-dollar deals. He faced hostile boards with confidence. Why was texting a woman making him feel like a teenager? Finally, he settled on Jaden. Looking forward to tonight. Fair warning. I'm much less impressive outside of galas and tailored suits. Her response came quickly. Alyssa. Somehow, I doubt that. But I appreciate the effort to make me feel better about my anxiety. Jaden. Is it working? A little. Though my roommate is currently stress organizing my closet while lecturing me about letting myself be happy. Jaden. Smart roommate. She has her moments. See you at 7? Jaden. 7. I'll be the nervous one with flowers. You're bringing flowers? Jaden. Is that too much? I'm genuinely asking. I'm terrible at dating. It's perfect. And for the record, I'm also terrible at dating. We'll figure it out together. Jaden set his phone down and realized he was smiling like an idiot. Marcus was right. This was worth feeling without overthinking, even if it was terrifying. Alyssa's apartment at 5:30 p.m. Hold still, Sienna commanded, wielding an eyeliner pencil like a weapon. I am holding still. You're making me nervous. I'm making you beautiful. There's a difference. Sienna stepped back to admire her work. Okay, look. Alyssa turned to the mirror and barely recognized herself. Not in a dramatic makeover way, Sienna knew her too well for that. But her eyes looked brighter, her cheekbones more defined. She looked like a slightly more confident version of herself. It's perfect, she breathed. I know. Now, outfit. I'm thinking the navy dress with the wrap front. Sophisticated, but not trying too hard. What if he thinks I'm trying too hard anyway? Then he's an idiot, which we've established he's not. Sienna handed her the dress. Put this on. And Liz, stop worrying about what he'll think. Just be yourself. That's who he's interested in. Jaden's penthouse at 5:45 p.m. Jaden had changed shirts 3 times. This was absurd. He'd given presentations to Fortune 500 boards. He'd negotiated international contracts. He'd rebuilt an empire. He should not be anxious about a dinner date. Yet here he was, standing in his closet, debating between navy and charcoal gray like it was a life or death decision. His phone rang. His mother, he almost didn't answer. Then realized she'd just keep calling. Hello, Mother. Jaden, we need to talk about last night. I'm actually getting ready to go out. With that girl? Alyssa? Her name is Alyssa. Yes. And yes, I'm taking her to dinner. Catherine was quiet for a moment. Darling, I'm not trying to interfere, but you have to understand how this looks. Bringing an unknown woman to a major corporate event, seating her at your table, people are talking. Let them talk. It's not that simple. Your position, the company's reputation. Mother. Jaden's voice was firm but not unkind. I appreciate your concern, but I'm 32 years old. I get to decide who I spend time with, and I'm choosing Alyssa. If that makes people uncomfortable, they'll adjust. I just want you to be careful. You don't know anything about her background, her intentions. I know she makes me laugh. I know she's kind and brave and honest. I know I want to see where this goes. That's enough for now. Another pause. Then, softer. You really like her? I really do. Well, Catherine sighed. Then I suppose I should meet her properly. Not at a gala where I ambushed both of you. That would be nice. When she's ready. No pressure. No pressure. I'm capable of restraint. Since when? Don't be cheeky. Have a good dinner, darling. And Jaden, I do want you to be happy, even if my methods are sometimes overbearing. Sometimes? Goodbye, Jaden. After they hung up, Jaden chose the navy shirt, then grabbed the roses he'd had delivered earlier, simple, white, elegant. He checked his reflection one last time. He looked nervous. Good. He was nervous. That meant this mattered. Antonio's was nothing like the gala. No crystal chandeliers. No orchestra. No 300 watching eyes. Just a quiet room, soft candlelight, and the gentle murmur of the restaurant beyond their private door. This is perfect, Alyssa said, accepting the roses with a smile that made Jaden's heart stutter. I wanted somewhere we could actually talk. Without my mother, or Elizabeth Harrison, or anyone else interrupting. Mission accomplished. She set the flowers on the edge of the table, though I have to admit, I'm not sure what to do now that we're alone. At the gala, there was all this. Structure. People to talk to. Things to do. Now it's just us. Is that a bad thing? No. Just intimidating. She took a sip of wine. You're very good at this, aren't you? The confidence, the knowing what to say. I keep waiting for you to realize I'm just regular. Nothing special. Alyssa. Jaden leaned forward. Can I tell you something? Okay? I'm completely terrified right now. I changed shirts 3 times. I debated the flowers for 20 minutes. I had Marcus schedule this dinner because I was afraid I'd somehow mess up the reservation if I called myself. He smiled ruefully. So, no, I'm not good at this. I'm just good at pretending. Really? Really. You make me nervous. In the best way, but still nervous. He reached across the table, palm up, an invitation. So, how about we both stop pretending we know what we're doing and just see what happens? Alyssa looked at his hand for a long moment, then placed hers in it. The simple contact sent warmth through both of them. Okay, she said. No pretending. Just honesty. Just honesty. Their waiter appeared with appetizers, gave them a knowing smile, and disappeared. So, Jaden said, still holding her hand, tell me something real. Something you don't usually tell people. That's a dangerous question. I'll go first if you want. To even the playing field. Okay, you first. Jaden took a breath. I'm terrified I'm going to end up like my father. He built Logan Industries, but he was so focused on success that he destroyed everything else. His health, his marriage, his relationship with me. He died at 53 of a heart attack brought on by stress and overwork. And sometimes, late at night, I look at my schedule and realize I'm following the exact same path. The honesty of it hung between them like a confession. Is that why you work so much? Alyssa asked softly. To prove you're different? Or because you're afraid you're the same? Both, probably. I took over his company when it was failing. I told myself I'd do it better, do it right. But better somehow became more. More hours, more control, more success. I haven't taken a vacation in 3 years. I can't remember the last time I did something just because I wanted to. Not because it served a strategic purpose. Until the art gallery? Until the art gallery. His thumb traced circles on her palm. You were the first impulsive decision I'd made in years. And then I couldn't stop. Coffee shops, romance novels, rearranging galas. You made me want to be impulsive again, to do things that didn't make logical sense, to just feel. Alyssa's throat was tight. That's the most honest thing anyone's ever said to me. Your turn. Something real. She looked at their joined hands. At this man who'd just laid himself bare. At this moment that felt both terrifying and exactly right. I'm scared, she said quietly. Of everything. Of failing. Of succeeding. Of wanting things too much and having them taken away. My dad left when I was 10. Just walked out one day and never came back. And I've spent my whole life trying not to want anything too much, because wanting things gives them power to hurt you. Alyssa, I write romance novels where people are brave and take risks and get happy endings. But in real life, I've been playing it safe for so long that I forgot how to want things. Forgot how to believe good things could actually happen to me. She met his eyes. And then you showed up and made me want things again. Made me want this. And that's absolutely terrifying. Jaden stood, came around the table, and pulled her to her feet. His hands framed her face gently. I can't promise I won't hurt you, he said. I can't promise this will be easy or simple or that I won't mess up spectacularly, but I can promise I'll be honest. I can promise I'll try. And I can promise that wanting you is the least scary thing that's happened to me in years. Even though we barely know each other, sometimes you just know. Remember? That's what I said at the coffee shop. That was about fictional characters. Maybe. Or maybe it was about us. Alyssa's breath caught. I know this is fast. I know it's intense. If you want to slow down, we can slow down. But I need you to know something. His voice was raw, honest. I haven't felt this way about anyone. Ever. Not in college, not in my 20s, not in any of those brief, polite relationships I convinced myself were enough. You make me want to cancel meetings. You make me read romance novels. You make me believe that maybe there's more to life than spreadsheets and strategy. I'm not special. You're extraordinary. You just don't see it yet. He kissed her forehead, soft and achingly gentle. But I see it. And I'll keep seeing it until you believe it too. Tears pricked at Alyssa's eyes. Not sad tears. Overwhelmed tears. The kind that came when something inside you that had been locked away for years finally cracked open. I submitted my manuscript today, she whispered. Jaden pulled back to look at her. What? After the gala. After you texted me. I finished the query letter and submitted it to 5 agents. Because you made me want to be brave. Because if I could have dinner with a billionaire who makes me feel like I'm the only person in the room, I could send out some damn emails about my book. His smile was brilliant. Alyssa, that's amazing. I'm terrified they'll all reject it. And if they do, you'll submit to 5 more. And 5 more after that. Until someone sees what I see, that you're talented and brilliant and deserve to have your stories in the world. You haven't even read my book. Then let me. I want to read everything you write. I want to know everything about you. I want. He stopped, catching himself. Sorry. Too much? No. Alyssa's hands found his chest, feeling his heartbeat beneath her palms. Not too much. Just a lot. Good a lot. I'll take it. They stood there, in the candlelight, in their private corner of the world, and let themselves feel everything they'd been too scared to feel before. Want, hope, possibility, the terrifying, exhilarating beginning of something real. They walked through the city afterward, neither wanting the evening to end. Tell me about your book, Jaden said. Not the plot, but why you wrote it. What it means to you. Alyssa thought about Emma and David, about the story she'd poured herself into for 2 years. I wrote it because I wanted to believe that two people could see each other clearly, all the flaws and fears and broken pieces, and choose each other anyway. Not despite those things, but because of them. She glanced at him. I wanted to believe that love didn't have to be perfect to be real, that it could be messy and complicated and still be worth it. That sounds like a good story. I hope so. It's the most honest thing I've ever written, which is probably why I've been too scared to send it out. But you sent it today. I sent it today, she smiled, because you made me brave. You were always brave. You just needed a reason to remember. They walked in comfortable silence for a while. The city hummed around them. Late-night taxis, distant music, the gentle pulse of urban life. Can I ask you something? Alyssa said eventually. Anything. Why didn't you date seriously? Before this? Marcus mentioned you haven't in years. Jaden was quiet for a moment. Because I didn't want to become my father. He loved his work more than his family, more than my mother, more than me. I watched my mom try so hard to make him notice her, to make him care, and it never worked. He was always somewhere else. Even when he was home. He paused. I told myself I wouldn't do that to someone, wouldn't make them come second to my company. So I just didn't let anyone get close enough to matter. Until now. Until now. Until now. He stopped walking and turned to face her. I don't have all the answers, Alyssa. I don't know how to balance this with my work. I don't know if I'll be good at relationships. But I want to try. With you. Because you make me want to be better than the path I was on. What if I can't handle your world? The scrutiny, the expectations, people like Elizabeth with their pointed comments? Then we figure it out. Together. But I'm not letting other people's opinions dictate this. Not my mother's, not Elizabeth's, not anyone's. This is ours, whatever it becomes. Alyssa looked up at him, at this impossible man who'd walked into her disaster and decided she was worth pursuing, who read her favorite books and sent her dresses and saw through all her defenses to something she'd been too scared to believe in. I'm still terrified, she admitted. Me too, but I want to try. Me too. He kissed her then. Soft and careful and achingly gentle. A question and an answer and a promise all at once. When they pulled apart, Alyssa was smiling. What? Jaden asked. This is exactly how I wrote the big confession scene in my book. Down to the streetlights and the city sounds and the feeling that everything's about to change. Life imitating art? Or art imitating life I haven't lived yet? She took his hand. Either way, I like it. They walked back toward her apartment, fingers intertwined, and let themselves believe that maybe, just maybe, this terrifying, complicated, wonderful thing might actually work. 3 weeks. That's how long Alyssa had been living in what Sienna called the romance novel bubble, where everything felt magical and impossible and too good to be true. 3 weeks of dinners at quiet restaurants where Jaden asked about her writing and actually listened. Of late-night phone calls that stretched until 2 in the morning because neither of them wanted to hang up. Of stolen afternoons in bookstores and coffee shops, pretending they were just regular people falling in love. 3 weeks of feeling like Cinderella, waiting for midnight to strike. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jaden. Jaden, good morning. Still on for tonight? My place, 7 p.m. I'm cooking. Fair warning. I'm better at business than cooking, but I'm trying. Alyssa smiled and typed back. Alyssa, you're cooking? This I have to see. Should I bring a fire extinguisher? Jaden. Probably wise. See you tonight. Missing you already. Alyssa. Jaden. Your point? She was still smiling when her email pinged, then pinged again, then exploded with notifications. Alyssa's heart hammered as she opened her inbox. 5 responses. From all 5 agents she'd submitted to 3 weeks ago. Her hands shook as she clicked the first one. Dear Miss Rachel, thank you for your submission. While your writing shows promise, I'm afraid this isn't the right fit for my list. Rejection. Okay. She'd expected that. Second email. Dear Miss Rachel, thank you for querying me with your manuscript. Unfortunately, the market for contemporary romance is very saturated right now. Another rejection. Third email. Dear Miss Rachel, I absolutely loved the sample chapters of The Heart's Gambit. Your characters are compelling. Your voice is fresh, and I'd love to read the full manuscript. Are you available for a call this week to discuss representation? Alyssa stopped breathing, then read it again, then read it a third time to make sure she wasn't hallucinating. An agent, a real literary agent, wanted to read her book, wanted to represent her. She screamed. Sienna burst out of her bedroom, hair in a towel, toothbrush in hand. What? What's wrong? Are you dying? An agent! Alyssa shrieked, waving her laptop. An agent wants to read my full manuscript. What? Alyssa! Sienna tackled her in a hug, both of them screaming and jumping and nearly knocking over the coffee. This is insane. This is completely insane. I can't believe. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Answer it. Sienna hissed. Alyssa's hands shook as she picked up. Hello? Miss Rachel. This is Jennifer Morrison from Morrison Literary Agency. I hope I'm not calling too early. I just couldn't wait to talk to you about your manuscript. The next 30 minutes blurred together. Jennifer, a real agent who represented actual published authors, loved her book. Thought it was fresh and emotional and exactly what the market needed. Wanted to represent her. Had ideas for submission strategy. Talked about publishers and editors, and things Alyssa had only dreamed about. When she finally hung up, she sat in stunned silence. Well? Sienna demanded. She wants to represent me. She thinks she can sell it. She thinks I might actually get published. Alyssa's voice cracked. Sienna, I might be a real author. You are a real author. Now, you're just a real author with representation. Sienna hugged her again. Gentler this time. I'm so proud of you, babe. You did it. You were brave. And you did it. Alyssa grabbed her phone to text Jaden, fingers flying. Alyssa, an agent wants to represent me. A real agent. For my book. I'm freaking out. His response was immediate. Jaden. Alyssa, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you, calling you in 2 minutes. True to his word, he called exactly 2 minutes later. Tell me everything, he said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. She told him about the email, the call, Jennifer's enthusiasm. He listened to every detail, asking questions, celebrating with her like it was his own victory. We're celebrating tonight, he declared. Forget cooking. I'm taking you somewhere special. Anywhere you want. Your place is perfect. I don't need fancy restaurants, Jaden. I just want... She paused. I just want to share this with you. Then we'll celebrate at my place. With champagne and terrible cooking, and me being impossibly proud of you. After they hung up, Alyssa sat with her happiness for a long moment. Everything was falling into place. Her writing, Jaden. Her life finally felt like it was moving in the right direction. She should have known it was too perfect to last. Jaden had made 3 things in his adult life: coffee, toast, and reservations. Actual cooking was uncharted territory. You're sure this is edible? Alyssa asked, watching him wrestle with a pasta maker. Absolutely not. but I'm committed to the attempt. He looked up, flour somehow on his cheek. How's it going with the agent? I sent her the full manuscript this afternoon. Now I wait and try not to compulsively check my email every 30 seconds. You're allowed to be excited. This is huge. Alyssa. It feels huge. It also feels terrifying. What if she reads the whole thing and hates it? What if she loves it and you get published and your dreams come true? He abandoned the pasta maker and pulled her close. You're allowed to have this. Stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Alyssa leaned into him, breathing in cedar and safety. When did you get so wise? I read it in a romance novel. Chapter 22. Very insightful. She laughed against his chest. You're still reading it? Finished it yesterday. Emma and David's ending was perfect. Very satisfying, even though it took them forever to figure it out, especially because of that. The build-up made the payoff worth it. He tilted her face up. Kind of like us. We've only been dating 3 weeks. Best 3 weeks of my life. Before Alyssa could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his expression shifted just slightly, but enough for her to notice. My mother, he said. I should take this. She's been calling all day. Of course. I'll attempt to rescue the pasta. Jaden stepped into the living room, and even though he was trying to keep his voice low, Alyssa could hear snippets of the conversation. Mother, I told you. No, she's not. That's not fair. I don't care what the board thinks. Alyssa's stomach tightened. She focused on the pasta, trying not to eavesdrop, but the words filtered through anyway. This is my personal life. You can't ask me to. Mother, please. When he came back, his jaw was tight. The easy warmth from earlier had been replaced by something harder. Everything okay? Alyssa asked carefully. Fine. Just family business. He returned to the kitchen, but his movements were stiff, distant. Jaden, the board is concerned about optics. The words came out flat, rehearsed. Apparently there are photos of us from the gala circulating. Questions about who you are, why you were at my table. Alyssa's hands stilled on the pasta. Okay, my mother thinks we should cool things down for a while, until after the merger is finalized. She's worried about the wrong kind of attention. The wrong kind of attention. Alyssa repeated slowly. You mean me? I'm the wrong kind of attention. That's not what I said, but it's what she said. What the board said. Alyssa set down the pasta fork. What you're not disagreeing with. Alyssa, it's complicated. No, it's actually very simple. Her voice was calm, too calm. Your world doesn't want me in it. Your mother doesn't approve. Your board doesn't approve. And you're considering their opinion more than mine. That's not fair. You don't understand the pressure. Then help me understand. The calm cracked. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like the first time things got difficult, you're choosing them over me. I'm not choosing anyone. I'm trying to navigate a complicated situation. By asking me to hide? To disappear? Until it's convenient. For your company? Jaden's hands clenched. I have responsibilities. 3,000 employees depend on this merger going through. I can't just ignore that because what? Because your girlfriend might be bad for business? Alyssa's laugh was bitter. God, Elizabeth was right. She said interest wasn't always enough. She said, I didn't belong in your world. I guess she knew what she was talking about. Elizabeth doesn't know anything. She knew this would happen. She knew that eventually, you'd have to choose between your perfect CEO life and the girl who spilled wine on a painting. And I know exactly which one you're going to pick. Alyssa, please, I should go. She grabbed her jacket from the chair. Don't. We can talk about this. Talk about what? How you want me to disappear for a few months? How your family thinks I'm not good enough? How I'm a liability to your company? Tears pricked at her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. I can't do this, Jaden. I can't be with someone who's ashamed of me. I'm not ashamed of you. Then what are you? Because right now, it feels like you're embarrassed that I don't fit into your perfect world. That I'm just a regular person with a regular life who doesn't understand billion-dollar mergers and board politics. That's not true. Then prove it. The tears came now, hot and angry. Tell your mother no. Tell your board that your personal life is none of their business. Choose me over their approval. Choose us. Jaden looked at her, really looked, and she saw the conflict in his eyes. The war between what he wanted and what he thought he should do. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. I need time, he finally said, to figure out how to handle this, to talk to my mother, to manage the board. Time. Alyssa's voice went hollow. You need time to figure out if I'm worth the inconvenience. That's not what I meant. Yes, it is. She headed for the door. And you know what? I don't blame you. Your whole life is that company. Your identity, your purpose, everything. Why would you risk that for a girl you've known for 3 weeks? Alyssa, wait. No. She stopped at the door, not turning around. You were right earlier. About the book. The build-up makes the payoff worth it. But only if there actually is a payoff. Only if both people choose each other in the end. We can choose each other. Can we? Because it doesn't feel like you're choosing me right now. It feels like you're choosing the easier path. The one where you don't have to defend me to your mother, or explain me to your board, or risk anything real. She finally turned to look at him. At this man she'd been falling in love with for 3 perfect weeks, who looked as broken as she felt. I can't be your secret, Jaden. I can't be the thing you hide when it's convenient and bring out when it's safe. I deserve better than that. You do. You deserve everything. That's why I'm trying to protect. I don't need you to protect me. I need you to choose me. Publicly. Proudly. Without hesitation. Her voice cracked. But you can't do that, can you? He didn't answer. Couldn't answer. That was answer enough. Goodbye, Jaden. She left, before he could stop her. Before she could change her mind. Before she could let him see her completely fall apart. Jaden stood at the window long after Alyssa left, his reflection staring back at him like an accusation. He'd handled that terribly. No, he'd destroyed it. Completely. Spectacularly. The woman he'd been falling in love with for 3 weeks had just walked out, and he'd let her, because he was too much of a coward to tell his mother and his board to go to hell. His phone rang. His mother again. He answered. Voice flat. What? Jaden, I know that was difficult, but it's for the best. You'll see that eventually. No. The word came out sharp. Final. It's not for the best. And I'm done listening to your advice about my personal life. Darling, I'm only trying to help. Help? You want to help? Then support my decisions instead of undermining them. Alyssa is the best thing that's happened to me in years, and I just lost her because I listened to you. You're being dramatic. If she can't handle a few months of discretion, she shouldn't have to. Don't you understand? She shouldn't have to hide or disappear or wait until it's convenient for my company. She should be able to exist in my life without apologizing for it. Catherine was quiet for a moment. You really care about her. I'm in love with her. The words came out raw and honest. I love her, Mother, and I just chose the company over her because I was too afraid to disappoint you and the board. Jaden, I spent 7 years rebuilding Dad's company. 7 years making it perfect, making it successful, making it everything everyone expected. And for what? So I could be alone in this apartment every night? So I could work myself to death like he did? So I could push away the one person who made me feel like more than just a CEO? Your father loved his work, and it killed him. And it killed his marriage. And it's killing me too. Except I'm doing it willingly because I'm too scared to choose anything else. Jaden pressed his palm against the cold glass. I'm done, Mother. I'm done letting fear run my life. I'm done letting other people's opinions dictate my decisions. And I'm done pretending I don't need anyone. What are you going to do? I'm going to fix this. I'm going to tell the board that my personal life is none of their business. I'm going to tell everyone who has an opinion about Alyssa that I don't care. And I'm going to pray that I haven't completely destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. He hung up before his mother could respond. Then he looked at the wine-stained painting on his wall, at the evidence of chaos he'd bought because it reminded him of the moment everything changed. Don't let other people's opinions matter more than this, he'd told Alyssa at the gala. Than us. He'd broken his own advice, but maybe he could fix it, if it wasn't already too late. Alyssa made it home before she fell apart completely. Sienna found her on the bedroom floor, sobbing into her knees. Oh, babe. Sienna sat down beside her and pulled her close. What happened? Alyssa told her everything between sobs. The phone call from his mother. The request to hide their relationship. The way he'd asked for time instead of choosing her. Alyssa hiccuped. He couldn't choose me over his perfect life. And I knew. I knew this would happen. I knew I was just a temporary distraction from his real world. That's not true. It is true, Elizabeth said it. His mother believes it. Even he believes it. Or he would have told them all to fuck off and chosen me. Fresh tears came. I'm so stupid. I let myself believe this could work. I let myself fall for him, even though I knew better. You're not stupid. You're brave. You took a risk, and it blew up in my face. Like I knew it would. Alyssa, I got an agent today, Sienna. A real literary agent who wants to represent my book. Today was supposed to be the best day of my life, and instead, I'm crying on my bedroom floor over a man I've known for 3 weeks who can't stand up to his mother. Sienna held her tighter. I'm so sorry, babe. The worst part? Alyssa's voice broke. The worst part is, I understand. I get why he hesitated. His company is everything to him. 3,000 employees. A merger that could change everything. Why would he risk that for me? Because you're worth it. Because love is supposed to be worth the risk. Maybe love isn't enough. Maybe Elizabeth was right about that too. They sat in silence for a long time. Sienna holding her while she cried. While she grieved for 3 perfect weeks that had felt like a fairy tale. Because that's all it had been. Really, a fairy tale. And everyone knew how those ended when you weren't actually a princess. You looked terrible. Good morning to you too. Did you sleep at all? No. Jaden had spent the night staring at his ceiling, replaying every word of his fight with Alyssa. Every moment he should have chosen differently. Marcus set down his tablet. What happened? I made a mistake. A catastrophic, relationship-ending mistake. With Alyssa? My mother called. Said the board was concerned about optics. Asked me to cool things down until after the merger. Jaden's laugh was bitter, and I didn't immediately tell her no. I hesitated, and Alyssa saw that hesitation and left. Shit. Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't know. Call her? Show up at her apartment? Grovel? Jaden rubbed his face. I'm open to suggestions because I have no idea how to fix this. Maybe start by figuring out what you actually want. Because if you're still worried about what your mother or the board thinks, then Alyssa was right to leave. I want her. That's not the question. Then what is? Whether I'm brave enough to actually choose her. To tell everyone else their opinions don't matter. To risk the perfect image I've built. Jaden looked at the wine-stained painting. To be the person she deserves instead of the person everyone expects me to be. Marcus was quiet for a moment. You know what I think? What? I think you've spent 7 years being the perfect CEO. The responsible son. The guy who never makes mistakes or takes risks. And it's made you successful. But it's also made you miserable. Marcus leaned forward. Maybe it's time to stop being perfect and start being happy. What if I can't have both? Then you have to decide which one matters more. Marcus stood. For what it's worth, I've never seen you as happy as you've been these past 3 weeks. Not in 5 years of working for you. That has to mean something. After Marcus left, Jaden sat with that truth. He'd been happy. Genuinely, completely happy. And he'd thrown it away because he was too scared to disappoint people who'd been disappointed in him anyway. His phone sat on the desk. One call. That's all it would take. One call to Alyssa to tell her he was sorry. That he chose her. That nothing else mattered. But words weren't enough. Not after last night. He needed to show her. He needed to prove he was brave enough to choose her. Publicly. Proudly. Without hesitation. Jaden picked up his phone and dialed. But not Alyssa. Someone else entirely. 4 days. 4 days of radio silence from Jaden Logan. 4 days of Alyssa telling herself she'd done the right thing. That she deserved someone who would choose her without hesitation. That walking away had been the brave choice. 4 days of her heart calling her a liar. You're allowed to miss him, Sienna said from her position on the bed. I'm not missing him. I'm focused on my career. Alyssa gestured to her laptop where she'd been revising her manuscript based on Jennifer's notes. This is what matters. The book. The writing. Things I can control. You're absolutely missing him. You've checked your phone 17 times in the last hour. I have not. Alyssa's phone buzzed and she grabbed it immediately. Sienna raised an eyebrow. It wasn't Jaden. Just Jennifer, with more editorial notes. Alyssa set the phone down, trying to ignore the disappointment crushing her chest. He hasn't called, she said quietly. 4 days and nothing. I guess that tells me everything I need to know. Or maybe he's giving you space. You did walk out pretty definitively. I walked out because he chose his board over me. Because when it came down to it, I was the inconvenient complication he needed time to figure out. Alyssa's throat tightened. I don't regret leaving. I wish it had been different. Have you considered that maybe he's trying to fix things? That silence doesn't always mean giving up? Or it means he's decided it's not worth the trouble. That Elizabeth and his mother were right. And I don't belong in his world. Before Sienna could respond, Alyssa's phone rang. Unknown number, she answered cautiously. Hello? Miss Rachel? This is Marcus Chen, Jaden's assistant. Alyssa's heart stopped. Marcus. Hi. I apologize for calling out of the blue. I wanted to let you know that Jaden has called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. He's making a statement about the merger and other matters. Why are you telling me this? Because he asked me to. He wanted you to know. In case you wanted to. Marcus paused. In case you wanted to be there. Be there? At a board meeting? He's holding a press conference immediately after. At the Logan Industries headquarters. He wanted you to know about both. What you do with that information is up to you. Marcus, what's going on? I think you should hear it from him. But Miss Rachel? I've worked for Jaden for 5 years. I've never seen him like this. Whatever he's planning, it's big. After they hung up, Alyssa stared at her phone. What was that? Sienna demanded. Jaden's making some kind of statement tomorrow about the merger and other matters. Marcus wanted me to know. Are you going? I don't know. What if it's just about business? What if I show up and it has nothing to do with me and I look like an idiot? Or what if it has everything to do with you and you miss it because you're scared? Alyssa looked at her laptop, at her manuscript, at the career she'd been building while her heart broke. I did the brave thing already, she said. I walked away. I chose myself. Why should I go back?